Alright, so this is how Minmay is posed in YouTube Cross. As you can tell, it's a very simple pose, and yet it's very feminine and very attractive. So, like I was saying, I'm building a life-size Minmay, and I wanted this particular pose because it fits her perfectly. The Minmay I was using was basically in a T pose. But luckily, the guy that's been making the models for me in the past was willing to pose the Minmay I had for me and get it proper. And believe it or not, he actually did it. This is the Minmay I'm now going to build. This is a 1-for-1 repose of the Minmay in Utah Macross, which you really can't see with my finger being in the way, and I can't really hold stuff. So if I actually scroll down, she's posed 100% exactly. And one of the things he actually did to help me build this thing was do some quality of life improvements on the model. So one of the easiest ways to actually show that off is to just go to one of my original models here. Now, as you can tell, this one is one of the original ones because she is stuck in her T pose. So let me do this. What do you want? So, like I was saying before I got distracted, this is the original model I was going to work with. One of the easiest ways to show a quality of life improvement is basically with the legs. Because as you can tell right here, well, you can see this little red line. This little red line goes all the way up into here, and that's because the legs here are what you call a free floating object. There's nothing actually physically connecting these legs to the top of her skirt right here. And what he did is he actually went in and actually made it so that there is a physical connection between the legs and the very top of her skirt here. That way, so when I actually go to build the legs and everything else, all I gotta do is just plop her skirt onto her legs, and it's going to stay as is. It's kind of hard to explain because I don't actually have the part with me in real life right now. It's just codes on a computer, but there's a lot of quality of life improvements on this model that's going to make building it so much simpler. And one of the things I asked was to have formers. And what I mean by formers are simply put to make it so I can keep a proper form of the model. So let's see, I'm actually going to stop the video and show you an example. So a former will be as simple as just basically what this little plate right here is. This little plate right here allows me to keep the form proper for the very top of her legs. Now, of course, I'm going to have to free build all the legs myself, but that's something I've done over the years. So generally speaking, keeping the actual legs proper should be fairly simple. But when it comes to something like the skirt, which if I can pop that in and actually remove the legs, which give me a second to figure out which one is a leg portion. Oh yeah, this is the leg portion. I mean, this is okay. So I just removed the skirt. This former right here allows me to get the form proper for the skirt. And if I do this, you can actually see there's also a former right here for the very top portion of her shirt here. This little former portion will allow me to get the form proper for this section here. And of course, there's also a former for this section right here, which actually is at the bottom. I think there's also a second one on the top too. That way, so I can just literally just connect these two with like magnets or something if I wanted to. It's kind of hard to explain exactly, but once I actually get to building this thing and getting to those little areas of this build, I'll be able to go a little bit more in depth on what I mean and why having a former is such a godsend when it comes to these type of builds. I mean, I can do it just fine freeform, but having a former to where I can actually just base everything else off of just helps me significantly. So with that said, this build can pretty much start. I can actually start building this right now, but I'm not going to do that because well, I'm getting sleepy and I want to start building this thing on Monday. So yeah.